Welcome back to the Motivational Mic, the show where we dive into real stories of resilience, reinvention, and the power of purpose. What's going on, everyone? Today we're joined by Henry Lee Bryant, founder and executive director of 5 Toes Down, a nonprofit empowering amputees through community, confidence, and connection. Born and raised in Savannah, Georgia, Henry's life changed on October 30th, 2016, when a motorcycle accident, through no fault of his own, left him a right leg below the knee amputee. What followed was devastation, emotional battles, and moments of feeling completely alone. But instead of letting tragedy define him, Henry turned pain into purpose. Through books, creative projects, and now 5 Toes Down, he's building a community that reminds amputees and their supporters that no matter what you lose in life, you're never alone, and you can move forward one step at a time. This is a story of faith, resilience, and standing firm when life knocks you down. Please welcome Henry to the show. Hey Henry, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hop on. I know that you're a pretty busy guy, so I'm glad to have you on the show, and let's get started.
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate the honor. So I know the schedule can get a little crazy, but I appreciate you reaching out, and we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you saying that. So before we get started, for everyone who doesn't know who you are, do you want to tell a little bit about yourself and your story?
Yeah. So okay, my name is Henry Bryant. I'm born and raised right here in Savannah, Georgia. I currently still reside here in Savannah. I'm an amputee now of 9 years. So that happened through trauma. I learned how to ride motorcycles and I loved it. I was 10 years riding, never had any issues, never had any problems. I was always told if you respect the bike respects you. So, plus I thought it looked cool. The girls loved it, the ladies loved it. So I was just out there doing my thing. I got hit unfortunately by somebody just not paying attention one day, and ended up hitting me head on. There was an accident in their lane, and instead of, I guess if they weren't paying attention, instead of just kind of bumping that car in front of them, they swerved to the left. And when they swerved to the left, it was just a two-way highway. So I was coming. So that's kind of how I got hit that day. Um, in result of that, had other things that was going on as far as in the hospital, like broken ribs, things like that. But the biggest part was losing my leg, and I'm 34 at the time. Super hard to deal with. And I went through all the stages. I don't know if you'll like want me to go into detail, but if you fast forward, I went from being crazy depressed, sad, just not wanting to even be open with anybody or be in the world alone, period, to now I smile every day, I have fun every day. It brought forth this persona of 5 Toes Down, um, that I go around all my social media handles because I decided at a point, I kept God in my life and I said, every morning I get up, I'm going to put 5 toes down on the ground and I'm going to try because I didn't have a prosthetic then. And it just stuck with me. And it stuck with me on everything. And to this day, I'm still repping 5 toes down, and I just want to empower other amputees and other people just to continue to live life and have some fun.
Yeah, going from, being perfectly fine and just going
Mm-hmm.
through life, and then 1 second later you wake up and you're in the hospital, you realize that your leg's gone, and obviously you mentioned the broken ribs and everything else that came with that. Dude, I can't even imagine, because at least my journey, like
Mm-hmm.
going through cancer and everything, it was over time. It was over a period of months, and I knew it was coming, but I couldn't just imagine, just 1 second later waking up. And I'm sure because you were unconscious for some of it, right?
Yeah, just once they put me, the crazy thing is, I never went unconscious. Like
Oh,
I can still recall like my body how it felt when it hit the side mirror and it was a truck. It was like an F-150 truck. I still remember that. I don't remember flying in the air because if you can see, I got a Superman sign on my hand here. And that's because the police report said one of the witnesses said, "I don't know exactly what happened. I just saw a guy flying in the air." So that's where Superman came from. But never passed out. I think the adrenaline was just running so much that I never felt the pain. I didn't know how bad my leg was at the time. I think the doctors told my parents that I probably would lose the leg, but they never told me. Um, so the crazy part is I still had my leg at first. So I'm bandaged up. I'm in the hospital, but I end up forming blood clots in my leg. And they were saying they couldn't get the blood clots out my leg because basically, like, just my bone had to pop down in a few places. They basically saying I would bleed to death. Um, they asked me about doing a major surgery, taking a vein on my arm, putting it in my thigh. I said, do it, because you ain't taking my leg. So whatever you got to do, you do it. Um, but during the process of them doing the test to make sure they could do the surgery, they came back and said, "Hey man, your bone died. Part of your bone died in your leg. That's it. We got to take it below the knee." That's when everything just was like, oh, it was like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? I was terrified at that point.
I can only imagine, man. Well, it started off as a normal day, October 30th,
Mm-hmm.
2016. What do you remember most about that day, like first in the morning and then, the days that followed as you realized how serious this really was?
So that day is crazy. At the time, I was working for Publix. I was in management, so you worked all the time, you worked holidays, weekends. I happened to be off that day. I want to say it was a Sunday. Um, and at the time where we were living, we weren't too far from Tybee Island down here, which is kind of like the only beach we got here. I said, "Hey, this is a ride to the beach." Put my feet in the sand. At that time, they had swings on the beach. You could swing on the beach, so it was a nice sunny day. wasn't too hot, and I didn't even fully gear up that day. I had on my half helmet that day. With the it was chrome. I had on shades that day. I had on a t-shirt, shorts, and tennis shoes because I was just running to the beach. Hang out at the beach and was coming back home and get ready for the work week. And on the way back home, uh, yeah, everything changed at that moment. Um, like I said, because of the adrenaline, I didn't feel pain at all in the beginning. I didn't start feeling the pain until after I was in the hospital at that time. But other than that, it was just a normal, regular day for me. I was excited about the day. I was happy about the day, and I'm talking about all of that changed instantly.
It's so remarkable how when something like happens like this, you can just think back and remember every single detail about that day. I remember the day that I was diagnosed, waking up and just feeling in so much pain in my leg. I couldn't sleep.
Mhm.
I want to say I woke up because I didn't even sleep that night, and then I was rushed to the urgent care. Uh, Testing was done. Got sent down to the main hospital. We were in and
Mhm.
out of the hospital for days, and eventually, I think my parents knew before me that
Mhm.
I had cancer. But I mean, I was 11 years old at the time, so how were you supposed to tell an 11-year-old, I mean, I was just like you, I was kind of like numb in the moment. Like, I really had no.
Yeah. You didn't know like all the details or what that really meant at that age, probably, right?
I mean, I knew that my grandmother died of it when I was younger.
Oh,
But, I didn't know the extent of it. I just thought, like, you can die from anything.
mhm.
So I don't know. I didn't know. And then I knew the concept, and then as time went on, it just became more and more. I realized how serious it truly was.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
man, hats off to you for what you're doing. Hats off to you for still being able to
you're
smile, and
both being an inspiration.
that's
So,
it. That's it.
I mean, after you had recovered, and obviously you were both of us so thankful to be alive. What was the hardest part of just adjusting to life, being now a baloney amputee?
So my hardest part, honestly, was mentally accepting part of my body was gone. Um, I wasn't even so much concerned about like walking. I wasn't even thinking that far ahead. I wasn't thinking about what type of process. I didn't know anybody that was an amputee before, so that was also like kind of scared me. I never had conversations about it. It was just nothing I knew about. Um, I didn't have like any family at the time that were amputees. So literally, I'm in a new situation for me, and being scared and just not knowing really was taking a toll on me because I started assuming so much. I started assuming I would never do this again. I would never walk. My life is going to be in a wheelchair. And then it went from that to my image. I started hating the way it looked. Because at the time, it's still swollen. You know what I'm saying? It was still swollen. I also had to have skin grafts and everything done to the same leg. So I got two, like, look like airplane strips on my thigh where they took skin at to put on two parts of my leg. So image wise, everything was just shutting down. So it was hard to just wrap your head around all of that at once. So and especially when I got by myself. So when family was around, I still would kind of joke a little bit. I was kind of still try to be the hard person, you know, not really show my feelings. But as soon as you get by yourself, that's when I mentally like it was draining me. Crying, I didn't know what to do. I'm angry, and even with religion, you know, I grew up in a Baptist church, and you know, I believe in God. I know about God, but I've never been in a situation where I felt like I needed Him so much. I didn't really know how to call on Him. You know what I mean? Because if you go in your daily life doing everything, it's like I don't say you don't need them, but you don't realize how much you do need them at the time because everything seems to be good. But when your feet is in the fire, that's when your faith is truly tested. So I got my faith tested and all that at the same time. It was too much for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things in life that we take for granted, being healthy and
Hmm.
obviously your relationship with God and everything. And do you think that's grown stronger, as you realized how lucky you were to still be here?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I literally probably last week, um, I even made a video saying people used to tell me like, "Oh man, you're strong, you're doing good, this and that," and I used to kind of brush it off and nonchalantly just be like, "Okay, well, thank you." Now I accept that wholeheartedly, and I let people know, "Hey, that's not me. That's God using me. I'm still here. I have a purpose, and I'm just gonna try to continue to let that light shine." So it's definitely at a point now where it's like uh, I put him first. I trust him with everything, every move I make, everything I do. It's a conversation that I have, just like I'm talking to you. So you know, I don't do anything formal, like not always on bended knee or anything like that. I literally just start talking, same way we doing our motivational mic podcast.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad that your relationship has really gotten stronger, and it's just so crazy that things
Hmm.
like that have to happen in order for us to realize it. Same thing on my end. But you mentioned feeling alone, and
Hmm.
the crying and everything. I felt the same exact way when I was around everyone and family and friends. Like, I'd be fine joking about it. But for those first, I'd say it was actually more so after the amputation. I think as a teenager, I was diagnosed at 11. That age, like 14, 15, when, like, you just start want to, like, being independent and doing stuff. It was really hard for me to
Hmm.
I mean, I would sit at home and I had those depressive states, and that's something that, I think I'm still dealing with, and it's nothing that's ever going to go away because, I mean, the human mind just isn't meant to handle such a horrific situation that you make it out of.
Yeah. So what I started doing too was I started looking at I started using that to help guide me too. I'm like, all right, if I can make it through this, I don't really care what else come up in my life, what I'm faced with. I'm gonna be okay. Even if in somebody else's eyes it looked like I failed trying to do something, I know I didn't fail because I actually tried. Because it took me out of my comfort zone too. Because there was a lot of things I didn't do just because I was comfortable. I didn't try to do new things because I was comfortable. That's just like you don't go in unfamiliar places and things like that. You go real cautiously. But things now, if they're aligning in my life, you know what I'm saying? I just try it because I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to either not be able to do it now, but it's always something I learned from it. And it's been helping me to actually be stronger too. Um, and it gives me like a peace of mind too, you know. But
Yeah,
I can imagine being as young as you trying to deal with that. That got to be a lot. That got to be a lot.
yeah. I mean, at the moment when I was first diagnosed, that younger age, about 11 and 12, it was it was fine. I mean, I was still a kid. I'm now 18, but
Hmm.
you don't really know any better. Uh,
Yeah,
there's only one way to go when you're a kid, but when you're an adult and you have so much experience and you
that's
know
true.
your life is your life and it's an ordinary day and something like this happens and you're like, oh my god, this has changed forever. Whereas for me, it was like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to live like this now. But like, I never had the chance to, grow and like develop yet. So it was kind of still that, like, this is just me, and I'm gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that because it's yes, I get that.
Yeah,
So it got to be hard both ways. I know it is. The
yeah.
not knowing and then the knowing and all of it happens. It's hard both. Definitely hard both ways. But
Well,
I do always like one another key thing that helped me too is I hang on to all my accomplishments, starting from when I first was able to wash myself again and move around again. So like when I start getting into like, I guess like if I start trying to fall into like a hole of like bad thoughts, those kick in automatically. Even though I'm 9 years in, I still remind myself that hey, you couldn't move at one point. Give yourself some grace. Take
exactly.
a deep breath. It's gonna be all right. Like that's what actually keeps me from like just losing it all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, there's gonna be moments like that where those thoughts arise. We're not perfect, and that's with everyone, but
Hmm.
there's a situation where it can always be worse. And like you said, celebrating those little milestones, even if they're so small and there's so many of them, just in those moments, thinking back how far you come and, why would you step back now? So
Yeah.
it really brings me to my next question. At what moment did you realize that you had the choice between staying broken forever or rebuilding yourself and doing what you do now with five toes down?
So I would say I started making that choice because at the time I was married. I'm divorced now, but between like my wife at the time and my family and just those around me pouring into me. Even the job at the time I was at Publix. They were sending me cards. They started a GoFundMe. They did so much. It's kind of one day it was like, man, you got a lot of people like counting on you. You know what I'm saying? So even if I didn't want to do it for myself in the beginning, I started doing it for those around me once they found out. Because back then I wasn't on social media, so like you can't tell that now. Like I'm on here every day, like cutting up. But then I wasn't even on Facebook. I didn't want nobody in my business. I didn't want nobody to know. So I wasn't on there like that. But just the outpour of people, like really, it kind of shows you like the type of person you are to people. And sometimes you don't always hear it from everybody you come in contact with, but I actually felt like, okay, I'm a good guy. Like people really do love me. People are really out here praying for me. I can't let them down. So that started me trying to do better. That started like the whole, all right, you got to find a way to get out of this. Like you don't want to let these people down. Now, as I get through it, then it was more so, okay, I gotta start finding me again. I gotta start loving on me again. And I just continue to grow in each aspect with that.
I think we're very alike because I very much had that same exact experience. In the beginning, my mom
Hmm.
was my biggest supporter. She
Hmm.
pushed me to do everything that I did at that time when I was weak and at my low point, and during treatment as well. But I guess the big thing that I'm trying to say is that I didn't care at that moment. I just didn't
Mhm.
care. And I'm sure you
Yeah.
relate. And I wasn't going to go anywhere if it was just for myself. But then I'd started the Instagram. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with basketball, but
Mhm.
you are. So I was at a Big Three tournament when I was diagnosed. I had
Okay.
an Instagram. I was only 11 at the time. Uh, and at this Big Three tournament, it's basically just for older players. It's 3-on-3 style basketball. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm sitting right next to Carlos Boozer. I'm like on the court, Boozer and Nate Robinson, and we're talking
Oh man.
up. And they're awesome guys. Shout out to them. They both
Yeah.
they were my first followers on Instagram actually because they were the ones who told me to make an account.
Wow.
So they were the ones. It was one or the other, maybe both. I mean, I don't know. Nate's hysterical, but
Yeah. That's dope, man. That's dope.
amazing. It was truly amazing. But they were the ones who really pushed me to make the Instagram and share my journey. And then after that moment, since I was like, there's people who want to see me succeed. There's people
Yeah.
who want me to do well, even if right now in the moment I'm not feeling like that. I gotta show up for them, and I gotta be an inspiration for the world because how rare is it that a kid gets diagnosed with cancer and they're able to uplift a whole entire community and
Yeah.
a platform online. So I give them a lot of the credit for sure for starting this journey, especially with my podcast. Even though, I mean, they indirectly influenced it in a way. So it was
Oh
really
yeah. No, that's dope, man. I'm telling you, like people's love, man. I really appreciate that because, like you said, it does push you to try when you don't feel like trying. Because same, I just was like, whatever. Like I said at the time, Erica, that was her name. That's her name. She would come to me and say, "Hey, you shouldn't be feeling this way," and I take full responsibility for a lot of the actions. And sometimes you don't know how you come off to people. And I didn't know at that time I was coming off, kind of mean and stuff like that to her. But she was only trying to help. It took me a while to even realize, like, hey, if you really love somebody and you care about somebody, if the shoe was on the other foot, I was like, would I have done the same thing? I would have been the same person to her, trying to research, trying to read, telling her, hey, you shouldn't feel like this. So that also helped me along my journey down the way to try to be a better person. I started thinking about it how everybody else saw me also.
yeah. It's hard because you know you could be on either side of it, and
Yeah,
side's going to impact you mentally, and the other side's going to impact you physically and mentally. So
yeah.
picking your battles, and none of them are a good side to be on, but
No, no, it's tough. Getting attacked on all sides.
and I'm sure there's a lot of hate. Like, how do you not see this person walking and stuff like that? So, but
Yeah.
I think it was nice of her to reach out. And, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and she knows to this day, even though we're not together, she knows how much I appreciate it. That's why I'm talking about it now. I'll never take the credit from anybody. I don't care, like if they in my life, out my life. I give all credit where credit's due. Just like you was talking about the guys tell you to start the podcast. She got me out the house. I didn't want to be out the house. She made me like ride in the car, even if we went to the grocery store. Got me to go on trips and things like that. Even if I reluctantly didn't want to do it, I appreciate all of that now because it was starting a journey that I didn't know that I was starting. If that makes sense.
how did you rebuild your confidence? When your physical appearance and the circumstances of everything had changed. I mean, obviously, it definitely took time, but you know, how did you do it? I mean, it's got to be so hard, especially as an
Mm. So that right there took. I couldn't even tell you like how long specifically, but I know it wasn't like short term. I would every day, and every day wasn't the best day, but for the most part, every day when I got up, I would tell myself, "You still look good. You still the same person. Just part of you missing. You gonna get everything you lost back." Um, I would have to constantly tell myself, "Hey man, you still handsome. You still look good. You still." you're gonna be okay every day. And then I'll have days I'll put on like say in the beginning I used to wear pants and jogging pants a lot because I was trying to hide my leg. I probably haven't worn pants in like out of a month. I probably might put on pants maybe once a month, if that. Most of the time I'm in shorts all the time, but I had to physically like look at myself. You know, a lot of times we don't physically look at ourselves. I don't know how many times you may just put on something, and sometimes you don't look in the mirror before you even walk out the house. That might just be me. I just throw on a t-shirt, threw on pants, didn't want to look in the mirror, but I actually took the time to pour back into myself, tell myself I look good, and then I had to also stop worrying about what the outside thought about me. You know, because a lot of times you do things because you're so concerned about how somebody else sees you. I literally had to let that go. I was like, man, people gonna love you or like you for who you are,
And there's nothing.
regardless. Yes, leg, no arms, whatever the case may be. And once I started pouring into that, I kind of got this attitude like, well, if you don't like me, kind of like you're lost type thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, at least in my experience with overcoming the confidence aspect of it, I have a prosthetic leg. I also have crutches.
Hmm.
I would never, after my surgery, and I was like healed and strong enough to the point where I wasn't in treatment and everything. I wouldn't leave the house without the leg because I
Hmm.
want people to know that I have one
Yeah.
leg. But as time's gone on, I've started using the crutches more. And for an above knee amputee, as at least for me, it is physically stressful to wear the leg and taxing. As
Yeah.
for the last few months, I'd say I've just been on the crutches, going to school on them. I'm a senior in high school, but
Okay.
yeah,
Congrats. Congrats.
yeah, thank you. Uh, yeah, but I don't care anymore. And if people like what you mentioned,
Hmm.
if they don't see what I see in myself, then it's their loss, and I'm not living for anyone else. There
Yes.
was a time in my life to where I felt worthless and
Hmm.
like I didn't have a place. But you got to make that place. You gotta step your foot in the door. No pun
Yeah.
intended. And
Yeah.
really just go after it and get what you want because no one else is going to do it for you, and you
That's
can't
it.
for anyone else.
That's true. I mean, once I literally started like doing what made me comfortable, that helped too. Because again, like a lot of times when you're trying to put on for other people or do things for other people, a lot of times you're uncomfortable, but you won't stop doing it because you're trying to look a certain way to somebody else. So, it's been days like in the beginning, like my leg may be hurting, with my prosthetic on, but instead of me not wearing it, I still, like you said, I would still wear it because I didn't want you to know that was missing. Now, man, if my leg hurting, I'll be sitting in front of you and I'll pop it off. I'll prop my leg up on top of my prosthetic. But again, I had to get to that point where I was comfortable because I wouldn't even take it off in public. Like I would go all day with it hurting until we got to a place where I could take it off. And when you wear pants, uh, even trying to lift the leg up, it has to come all the way up to my thigh area for me to take it off. So I couldn't do it with pants. I would have to unbuckle pants, pull them down. So you can't just do that in public. You know what I mean? So I would be in pain sometimes just because I was worried about like how somebody else would see me. So now I'm comfortable with me. Like I said, it's reality. It's like the more you hide it, it's like it's so much work to hide it, and it's just like, hey man, this is who I am. This is like we just said, you either like it or you don't.
And I mean, when you're in the moment, you're at your worst point. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There
Yeah.
is no hope. There is just no way to feel like you can keep pushing forward. But every single day, if you realize it or not, I don't think anyone would really realize it in the moment. But every day, it gets slightly better, and
Yep.
those days start to pile up, and before you know it, you are where you are now. And same thing with me. So it's all baby steps. It's all just tiny progress that over time just builds and builds and makes makes you who you are.
Absolutely, and I believe that 100%. I do. I tell people all the time, it's not you don't have to do a grand gesture for people to appreciate you, and yourself. You don't have to do something so grand for yourself for you to realize like you're special. You should already know like, hey, I'm special, and like I said, just continue to tell yourself that every day, and yeah, build on it, build on it. You'll be amazed what you can do. When you're hard in it, your mind in it, and it's like everything you're doing is genuine, and you touch so many people. And like I said, it's going to be a lot that you don't even get to conversate with. So that's why I really appreciate people that I get a face to face with. I really appreciate you, in this podcast because there's a lot of people you're blessing behind closed doors, but the ones that actually are in front of you that get a chance to tell you, like I appreciate that. I really do.
What would you say to someone who feels like their life changed overnight in a way that they didn't choose for it to happen?
I would tell you to first take a breath. Take a breath, and let it out. When I say let it out, it depends on where you are. You can't just scream and yell at any place. But if you're feeling emotional and like it's tears in your eyes, man, let those tears flow because you are releasing at that point. Um, Take some deep breaths and give yourself grace. Give yourself time to process what's going on. Because like I said, my main thing in the beginning was I didn't know, and I was so scared and just assuming so much stuff. It was making it worse. So give yourself grace, give yourself time, take it one day at a time, and actually like realize what is going on. You know what I mean? And then start the process of dealing with okay, all right, this is going. Whatever the case may be, even if it's not legs, whatever your situation is, if it's hard, just be like, hey, this is a hard situation. This is where we are. Where do I go forward from here? And just apply that to anything. If it's missing limbs or whatever the case may
Yeah, and I would kind of add to that and just say, answer my own question a little bit,
be.
that it's hard, and in the moment it's super hard. I mean,
Yeah,
you just feel like there's a huge weight on top of you, but you just got to make it through the day. And
yeah,
it feel pointless to just live day after day in this state that's like uncomfortable and unpleasant to live in, but there are better days ahead,
yeah,
and definitely do not want to take those days away by doing something stupid in that moment. That's what I'm.
yeah. True, true. And I also tell them that like you said it earlier, like it's just because you're good today doesn't mean you're going to be good tomorrow. So it's going to be days you're going to go back and forth. So, and just repeat those steps. Just once you get in that place where you're kind of like hard on yourself, just breathe a little bit. Breathe a little bit and just reset and just try to start over again. And it is a hard place to be in. It seems like it's so easy to give up and just be mad at everybody else or mad at the world or point blame to someone, but you have to do some hard work and really look at yourself and just be like, hey, I can do this and I'm going to do this regardless of how hard it's getting.
And the first thing that you should be doing is just realizing how lucky. I mean, at least in. I mean, I said any certain situation, but maybe for a physical accident or something like we had, how thankful, you are to be here, and that if you weren't here, you wouldn't be feeling the emotions that you're feeling. Uh,
Yes.
it's
You
just,
know,
if you're alive, there's always an opportunity.
it's funny you say that because when as I look back on my story and when I tell people it was always key situations where it was like God was telling me that and I didn't realize it. So even that day when I got hit and I went to the hospital, I was at Memorial here in Savannah. The next morning they took me to Augusta because I did have road rash. And Augusta Medical is a hospital they say is good with like burns. It's like a major burn unit hospital type thing. And I was in so much pain that day because they transported me through the ambulance. And now I'm conscious. My adrenaline not pumping like accident, so I didn't realize how hard the ambulance that flat bed is in the back of the ambulance. It is extremely hard. we're hitting all kind of bumps. My leg is hitting the side. You know, they're trying to be as careful as possible. But anyway, every time I was there and I was crying and I was in pain, one of the nurses or somebody would like pass by my room. Now again, I'm not from Augusta, and they would ask my parents, "Hey, can we come in and talk to him, or could we pray for him?" Or it was a lady came in and said her husband was down the hall from me, like 2 rows down. Also rode a motorcycle. He lost a leg and 2 arms. So I'm talking about I'm in here mad because I may lose my leg, and this a guy 2 rows down from me who done lost both his arms and a leg. I mean, you talking about a reality check real quick. Even though I was still angry and mad, it kept me from projecting it as much at the time. And stuff like that happened periodically, kind of like through my whole recovery, with just people telling me how blessed I am and realizing, making me realize it could have been so much worse.
Yeah, and then when you read the news and all these horrible headlines, you just realize that it can always be worse, and
Yeah.
that your situation may be so bad, and everyone says they couldn't even imagine. Just feel that, feel those horrible stories and horrible things that you see as motivation to be like, well, it can always be worse, you know?
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like to put that on the t-shirt.
Definitely always be worse. It could be worse until you're not here.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. So as long as you're breathing, it can always be worse.
Yeah. I mean, you still got a purpose. You still got a plan. You still got some lives to touch. And yeah, just got to keep going. That's it. Because I don't know where my path is going to end. But I know I'm having fun going wherever it is that God got me going. I'm gonna have fun every day. I'm telling you.
Yeah. No, I love that for you, man. Well, obviously, as you've become an inspiration, and you have embraced your physical disability. What inspired those coloring books that you made and the creative projects that you created.
So the coloring books came about because when I was in the hospital, you can only watch so much TV in the hospital, and anybody that's been in the hospital for an extended period of time, you know that those beds can get uncomfortable, even if they're comfortable in the beginning. And you also know if you try to get real sleep in there, not gonna happen. Every time you close your eyes, there's somebody coming in to check on you or do vital signs or give you a medication or the doctor coming in with an update. It seems like every time you go to sleep or like staff, whatever the case may be. So I was looking for anything to do, because again, I wasn't moving. So if they had crossword puzzles, I was doing them. And then I'm doodling on them myself. I'm drawing little pictures on them myself. Um, and I found like some comfort in that. And then when I got home, same thing. I'm laid up watching TV, but I wanted to do something. So I was like coloring, and I said, man, I wonder if one day I could make a coloring book. And I kind of threw it out my mind. I didn't think no more about it. But the true inspiration was I went to sleep one night. I was trying to figure out what it is in life I was gonna do because obviously I wasn't going right back to work at the time. And I promise you, I once I started kind of journaling, because I just started that in the hospital, I kept a journal by my bed. So I would sleep one night. I remember, and I grabbed the journal, never cut the light on. I wrote some stuff down. And I promise you, when I got up that next morning, and I closed it, put it back. I got up that next morning, started looking at what I wrote. Some of the stuff I could read, some of the stuff I couldn't. But it was saying like I need to basically like tell my story. I basically was saying like this is your journey to start with. And I took one thing after another, and just I had time on my hands. So my journaling turned into me basically writing a book about my story that day. And when I got done with that, I just kept wanting to do more. I said, well, I colored, so I wonder if I can make a coloring book. And I started googling how to do it, who to reach out to. I used Fiverr back then, which was an app for like freelance workers.
Mhm.
Connected with somebody, told them my ideas, and pretty much they did the first one, the pictures for free, because they was like, "That's a dope idea that you got." And then I looked up on how to publish it, and I'm telling you, when you start getting things going, you get inspiration, you get fuel. I liked it, so I did a second one. Yeah, I just kept going.
Yeah, I mean, after that first thing, that you realize that you can do something if you put your mind to it, it just
Hmm.
so many doors, just so many.
Yes,
You feel like at that point you can do anything, obviously within reach, but I mean, there's just so many things you can do, and all it takes is that first step to be able to realize that.
yes. And now I turned from the coloring book to I got two now. I actually got a third one on the way. Like I'm literally just waiting on it to come in the mail for me to put my eyes on it to say it's good. I got a third one now coming.
So, are they
Um,
adults, or for
hmm.
are they like children's coloring books or adults?
Well, it's crazy because I don't even I color in children's coloring books. I mean, even though I'm an adult, it could have been a Mickey Mouse coloring book, whatever was by me, I was coloring it. It
That's
just was
therapy.
peaceful. Yeah, yeah,
It really is. It's just the simple things that take your mind off of the worst situations, and
yeah,
they work. I mean, coloring is just a stress reliever, and
yes.
for granted. But like, having pieces of paper with ink-filled lines on it, I mean, it's what occupies you, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good thing, and I still to this day do it. Just from time to time, I get a little busy, but I just now, even with the coloring books, I want people to know that like this is not the end of the road. So as I live, I'm back to I consider myself living life, and I get a lot of people ask me like, how did I get to that point? So now I want to empower other people just to go outside. Just go outside and be comfortable being outside as you. You'll be amazed what catches you, what keeps you. And now I want to be able to do things like that. I want to be able to put on events. I want to be able to get like everybody together. Like let's take trips, things like that. So
You've told me that you worked in service-oriented roles, and I mean, how did that background prepare you to lead the nonprofit that you are right now? And would you like to share a little bit about it?
okay, so my background was when I for school I took management, business management. Graduated Savannah State with my bachelor's out there. And every job I had before was retail. And I always ended up in a management position or I was chasing a management position. So I'm used to being around people. I was already used to Publix was my last job, so I was already used to great like customer service. I was already used to being the first one to speak to people regardless. I still do it to this day sometimes. I'm in the grocery store and I start straightening up stuff on the shelf and I just be like, man, what are you doing? It's been like 5, 6 years. Like, stop it. But I still speak to people when they're in my presence. Certain feet away. We was always taught at work you speak. So being able to just communicate with people in my retail jobs has really helped me for what I'm doing now. The management part helped me to be able to be around all different types of people because everybody's not what's the word I'm looking for? Like the best employee at the time. But it taught me to look for strengths in people because I never would count you out if you couldn't do a job and I was your manager and we had a task to do. If you couldn't do it exactly like it needed to be done, I wasn't like you wasn't gonna sit on the sideline while everybody else did the job because we all was getting a paycheck. I made sure I found something that you can contribute that you had a strength at. So I started looking deeper into people. Um, Now the nonprofit, it is the same. I'm around people all the time. I'm talking with people, and I'm just more catering it towards amputees and like friends and family to give them their voices back, um, and give them their confidence back. I want to empower them to continue to be the beautiful people they are. And just because you're missing part of your limbs, that doesn't make you less of a person. I mean, technically it does, but inside,
It all comes right here. You know,
yes, yes,
not be
you
the same,
still,
but
yeah, you still can affect people and have a good relationship with people.
exactly. What misconception do you think people have about amputees that you'd personally like to change?
So one misconception is that a lot of people, as soon as they see an amputee, they just automatically assume it's like diabetic. Especially if you're not like real slim or fit or anything like that. If you got a little weight on you, overweight, big bone, whatever words you want to use, they all tend to think, oh, it was diabetic, or diabetes. Um, and another that's one misconception, and another misconception that a lot of people tend to have is that if you're an amputee, then your life is just going to be hard all the time, and even like walking style, they don't expect you to be able to move a certain way. I think they think just because you're missing your leg, everybody should walk with a limp that's missing their leg. But that's not true. Sometimes there's other health issues that cause people to have a gait or walk a certain way. Because I've had a guy in the gym ask me that. He's wearing a boot because I think he messed his ankle up or something. He was like, "Man, you don't walk with a limp." And at first I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he was like, "Oh, because you're an amputee." I was like, "Well, it takes a lot of practice to get to like a normal walking style. I walked with a limp in the beginning, but that was because of the pressure of your leg being inside of a socket and all of that." But so that's two misconceptions. They think all amputees have a certain, I guess, walk, and then mostly all amputees lose their limbs from diabetes.
And I think what a lot of people think as well uh, is that when you have an amputation, there's mentally something going on or something wrong with you, which is not true at all. I mean, it's
Yeah,
having a cut on your arm. I mean, does that alter your brain chemistry? No. It's
yeah,
just missing a part of your body, and that's it. I mean, there's
mhm.
no other way to put it. It's really it.
Yeah. That's all. That's all. But we're all different. Everybody's comeback story is going to look a little different. We all probably go through a lot of the same emotions. Um, and we all gonna probably go through a lot of the same processes as far as rehab, but the time that it takes to get to a point where you're comfortable with yourself, all of that varies from person to person. So I tell a lot of people, and I have to tell myself, I can't look at where somebody else is and say, man, I should be there doing that. I look at it and say, okay, he's doing good, she's doing good. What can I do to better what I'm doing to get to a point to do that. If it's possible now, it got to be within reason too.
Yeah, it's a race against yourself. You can't compare yourself to people with two legs. It's your progress versus yourself. You
Yeah,
just want to be better than you were the last day. So
that's it. That's it. I like that.
it's something my prosthetist always told me, and he's one of the best prosthetists in the country. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you had an identical version of yourself, just another person who's your same weight, the same build, same everything, but they had two legs, they'd outrun you in a race, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's just a part of who you are. It's just because you have one leg doesn't mean that you have to be competing with people with two legs. And you got to give yourself grace with that. You do.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is definitely true. Because if you don't, you mess around and get too hard on yourself, and you could push yourself into the same hole you were trying to dig yourself out of, or you dug yourself out of. Because just because you start doing good, you can go like years and not have issues, and then have an issue, and you can mentally check out at that point, and you just gave up everything you did years leading to where you at today. So
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's always just one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, and take it slow and steady. And just be grateful, be grounded, know your values. What do you really love in this world, and connect yourself to that.
yes, absolutely.
Just two more questions before we wrap up here. One, kind of on the um, less critical thinking side. What activities do you still like to do, and do you still ride motorcycles?
Man, that's the number one question I get, and for me, No, I don't still ride. I literally, a friend of mine sent me a picture today with him on a motorcycle. And he lost his leg on a bike and he's back on there. But my my whole reason, I used to ride sports bikes, and the only reason, okay, at first I wanted to get back on, but then the more I started doing with my prosthetic, I realized, hey, I can't feel my foot on my right side. And a light bulb went off in my head when I was in the gym riding a bicycle. I had my foot on the peg. I didn't strap it in. I'm riding, got my music on, and I did not feel my foot sliding off that pedal until it was just that, my foot just dropped down real quick, and I was like, oh. And I kind of was like, man, if I'm gonna have my motorcycle with the vibration, how do I know if my foot slide off that peg? You know what I mean? Then it hit the street. I was like, that's too much. So I said, well, I may get on a trike or something like that. But it took so long for me to actually, I think, try to get back on a motorcycle because mentally, again, remember in the beginning, I told you I rode and I respected the bike because that's what I was told when I learned how to ride. I took safe riding courses. I did all that. So me mentally, I was prepared to be on the road, but you can't account for anybody else on the road, and that's a hard pill. That was a hard pill for me to swallow. So I just said, at the time, maybe I'll do it later. But now I'm at a point where if I do get back on a motorcycle, it'll more than likely be a trike where my feet are extended in front of me. I don't have to worry about shifting gears or anything like that. Some of them have reverse on it. That's if I do. And then I forgot the first question you asked me because the bike thing was what everybody asked me.
And no, it was just like, what stuff do you like to do for fun now, like physical
Oh, yeah. So I got into I got into working out. I got into started participating in 5K races
Oh,
as
awesome.
a goal. Yeah, as a goal to give back to those that poured into me. I started doing it and I started getting a lot of love from people from just being out there. Even if I walked, ran, walked, jogged, man, people was just excited to see me out there. So I like that. So I started doing like 5Ks like throughout the year. I didn't care what it was. It could have been around Christmas, reindeer runs. I've done Jewish runs. I've done like the bridge run here in Savannah. Um, and I still like to do those. I just had to take a little break because my real knee my real knee started acting up a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, and I still like to play around a little basketball. I don't play like full court or nothing like that, or like I used to, but I still like to shoot around. And I'm recently into golf, so I'm starting to learn the game of golf. I'm enjoying golf.
I love golf.
Um, yes, and then I'm still a kid at heart. I like Dave and Buster's, places like that, Top Golf, and I try to just do stuff like that to have fun.
Yeah, and just think about like where you were sitting in the hospital and now what you were doing just a few years ago, just running those 5Ks and everything. I mean, those thoughts probably couldn't even comprehend that you were going to.
Mm-mm. I sit there sometimes and I thank God for it, and I start, like I said, I really try to thank the people in my life that played a part in this. And I'm in a men's group too called the League of Bond, and those guys there, they played a major part in it too because at my first 5K race, the president Justin was calling me, and so I'm at the point I'm jogging and I'm at like a kind of brisk walk, and I answer the phone. He was like, "Man, you got to finish the race," and I'm like, "Nah," I said, I'm still in the race like right now." I didn't know some of the brothers was at the finish line with signs, all their shirts on, and everything, rooting me on at the finish line. It was so many of them, and they were so loud that people thought I paid them to be out there when I finished. And when you say like that's an unexplainable feeling when people show up for you like that. That's why I said when I get a chance to see people face to face and tell them thank you, like I appreciate that because that's how it started off for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's good people out there who really just do want the best for others and
Yeah.
take those people and really show you and express your gratitude toward them. Well, a last question here. I mean, if someone listening just right now feels so broken, kind of at the spot that we were at our both of our low points, what would you say to them directly?
I would tell you directly, again, I don't know where your faith lies, but I would encourage them to pray. I would encourage them to, again, just try to silence the noise around you because it could be so loud that you can't think. Try to silence the noise around you and just try to take it one day at a time. You literally got to look at your situation, and we said it over and over again. Even though your situation is bad, it could have been so much worse, and you could have been in such a different place. It doesn't matter again what you're going through. Hard times hit everybody, so you got to remember hard times don't last. Hard times to me only last if you give up and you decide to stay in that place. Now, your time frame is going to be different as far as your hard time, but just don't give up. And I promise you won't be stuck there as long as you're thinking right now. Because right now you're probably thinking this forever. But give yourself some grace, take some time, keep prayer in your life, keep God in your life. And I'm telling you, things will start to work out for you. It is a ray of sunshine at the end.
Yeah, just keep fighting, keep pushing forward, and don't
Yeah,
look back because the second you look back, that's when you start to uh,
yeah,
ask the unnecessary questions that will put you deeper into a spiral. So
yeah,
just keep pushing forward, stay positive, and it might take a while, like you said, it could be years. It'll
yeah.
for you in the end, though, if you put it in the progress.
And be real with your emotions too, because like I said, that's kind of what held me back. Just me trying to, you got to kind of be careful with who you tell things, but find somebody you can confide in. I even saw a psychologist at one point. Find somebody that you can express yourself without it like setting off too many alarms and bells, or people like starting to completely change every time they come around you. Because sometimes you just need to get some stuff out. And if you feel like you can't talk with somebody, write it down. Get you a journal and just write it down. Because I had a journal and I wrote down like I'm angry. I'm angry at the world. I'm angry at God. Like write it down if you feel like you can't talk to anybody at the time. All of these things are tools that's going to help you in the beginning to kind of start to release. And you're not just pent up with so much emotion until one little thing makes you explode, or God forbid, you just decide like, hey, I don't even want to be here no more. Period.
Henry, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on here today. It's been an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being open, being honest, sharing your beliefs. Everything that you said just really means a lot. And as even I'm doing these podcasts, I've done so many of them, and I will continue to do so many. I've been doing it for 2 years now. I learned so much every single time I talk to someone new, and I definitely have to say that you taught me so much about just resilience. And I thought that I was alone in the feeling dark moments of life, but seeing that you were there as well and that we were both able to overcome it really gives me hope for us and for people in general. So thank you so much. It truly means a lot, and I can't wait to get this episode up and published.
Well, man, hey, I appreciate it right back to you. It's nothing but love on my end. And you also continue to do what you're doing. You're amazing. I know we just recently met, but I follow you now, so I'll make sure I'll be checking you out. And yeah, just don't let nothing stop you from going after your purpose because you're doing a great thing here, and I really appreciate it.
Well, my main goal, I'm going to Penn State next year. I'm majoring in journalism. I ultimately want to be a play-by-play broadcaster for a
Wow.
really big network. So I have some nice contacts. Uh, you
Oh,
know,
you got it. You gonna do it. I'm gonna be over here like, hey, I know him. I
I
know him.
yes, exactly. You're a big sports guy. Me, I as well. But just it's got to stay focused with the goals. That's what we've been talking about. That's one of my biggest goals. Obviously, this podcast is a huge thing. I'm going to keep doing it. But I do play by play at my high school for all different types of sports. I recently just created a reel of all my best clips, and I
Come
get
on.
auditioned within school, so it gives me a lot of hope and a lot of pride to know that I'm actually like a decent broadcaster and that I have a lot of potential.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it takes me, and I hope that you were able to see me on ESPN, CBS, TNT, any one of those networks one day, kind of like a Mike Tirico, Mike Breen, one of those guys.
Come on. Come on. Are you gonna be there? I'm gonna see you.
But for right now, you have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much yet again.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'll do that for you. Thank you again so much for having me.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having a great conversation with me, and you have a good one.
All right. You too.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye. Wow, what a powerful conversation with Henry. His journey is proof that setbacks can become setups for something greater. Through 5 Toes Down, he's creating space for healing, support, and inspiration for amputees and their families. If this episode moved you, share it with someone who needs encouragement. Subscribe to the Motivational Mic and leave a review. And remember, no matter what you're facing, take it one step at a time. Until next time, I'm Jacob Orlick for the Motivational Mic. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share, and leave a review. Together, we can spread positivity and make a difference. Join me next time for more incredible stories and insights. Until then, stay motivated and keep pushing forward. Thank you for listening, and see you next time on the Motivational Mic.